Ashley Twaddell on behalf of our video production class, and today we're here to interview Father Nash, one of our residing Jesuits on campus, and you've probably seen him walking around with the dog once or twice, but you might not know the man behind the dog walker. So, Father Nash. Okay, so speaking about Nicholas, can you tell us more about him?
I can. Well, I'll tell you how it started. I was director of campus ministry my first year, and I was at a soccer match, and a student came up and said, you know, we should adopt a live greyhound. That's when adopting greyhounds became very popular. And I said from a big mouth, if we're getting a dog, I'm keeping it. Well, it turned out that became the reason we got it, that I would be willing to keep it. And I thought it's perfect being in campus ministry that you can come in and play with the dog and not have to talk about God. And the first dog was Alexandra. She was a princess. She was absolutely wonderful. And then after 4 years, I was asked to take over the Thailand program. But the people in campus ministry didn't seem to really want the dog, so I still keep the dog whenever I'm home. And now that I'm here permanently, there's no problem.
So I heard there's sort of a story behind the names of the dogs. Did you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
There is. It's romantic. I'm fascinated by the story of Nicholas and Alexandra, the last Tsar and Tsarina of Russia. And when we got the first dog, I thought, what a wonderful name Alexandra was. And it was sort of a tribute to the people who had such a cruel end in their lives. And we had rescued her from death by adopting her. So, and then when the next dog came along, it was male, so we decided Nicholas would do it. And now I've decided that as long as we have males, there'll always be Nicholas because students can't learn a new name. It's as simple as that.
So how many years have you been a residing Jesuit here at Loyola?
I've been here 21 years, and I've lived in residence halls 21 years here, and altogether I've lived in residence halls for 40 years.
Okay, and where were you before Loyola?
Before Loyola, I was up at Lemoyne College in Syracuse, and before that I was at St. Joseph's in Philadelphia.
Oh, great. What's your role on campus, and what kind of experiences, encounters, or relationships do you have with the students here?
That's a good question. I'm not sure about the second part of it. I know what my role is. My title here is Alumni Chaplain.
Okay.
And I choose to live in a residence hall because I want contact with students. And basically, I'm a resource person. I enjoy students. I enjoy being with them. I'm sort of there to serve them in any way I can.
So what made you decide to become a Jesuit in the first place?
A number of things, I guess. Well, I have an uncle who's a Jesuit, so I knew about Jesuits from a very early age. But I went to a Jesuit prep school in Philadelphia, as we say in Philadelphia, the prep. And really liked the men that I met, really respected them as teachers. We had a lot of young men at that time, scholastics, and they were fun to be with. And you know, ultimately, I thought I would be good. You know, you choose a profession. Some people just feel, you know, I'd like to be a doctor, or I'd like to be a lawyer. And I thought, I would really like to be a priest. And if I'm going to be a priest, I want to be a Jesuit. I wanted to be involved in education. And I've been a Jesuit for 53 years, and I must admit I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Okay, so you talked about Thailand a bit at the beginning. As a former trip leader for the Loyola Thailand Study Abroad experience, why would you recommend the study abroad experience to any of the students?
Jesuit education really maintains reach and embrace the world. And I think part of that education is getting to know how the world is. And if one goes abroad, one gets a different perspective on so many different things, including their own country. You know, if you go abroad, you see everything in America, all the good points, and they're incredibly good. But you also see its weak points. And if we're going to develop leaders for tomorrow, I want those leaders to see where our weaknesses are. And then, too, when you go abroad, I think you're forced to grow. I've always found, for me, it was a great privilege directing the Bangkok program because I watched students develop a sense of their worth, a sense of independence, a sense of capability, and they just grew dynamically. Plus, part of the growth was the fact that they got to know a new culture, got to see places, Vietnam. None of you remember the war in Vietnam since you weren't born, but they've heard about Vietnam, and to be able to go there, or Cambodia and the Khmer Rouge, India with its spectacular people and nation. There's just so much there that you don't necessarily get. When you're at Loyola, you can get locked into a small community. And there's a good thing about community, but I think that if you go abroad, your horizons are really opened. Nicholas, be quiet.
What have you seen change? What would you keep? What would you do away with? What would you maybe bring back?
I do away with cell phones and email and voicemail. Um, I've seen the student body change, and that's just a generational thing. That happens all the time. Every generation is different. When I first came here and working in campus ministry, I knew every RA. I knew most of the students, and I found that having been in Thailand, I've gotten removed from that. It's very hard to break back into the group. But I think students are maybe a bit turned in on themselves now, more so than before. I think this bit of communication from a distance is not good. You know, when I walk across campus and see two people walking together on their cell phones, I walked between two of them one day and said, "Are you talking to one another?" Cell phones become impersonal. I think email. I used to get people calling me at 2:30 in the morning, go right into voicemail, saying, "Can I make an appointment?" Well, we have office assistants. We have telephones. You can call and talk to me live. So that separation, I see it more and more. I teach literature, and I find texting has really, I think, led to a degrading of your ability to write. You're always taking the shortcuts. Sense of entitlement has grown over my 21 years here. On the other hand, there are an incredible number of students who are delightful, and you take our community service operation. I mean, to see students dedicated to that, and so many are, boy, that's impressive. I wouldn't want to change that for anything.
Yeah, that's great. Well, given the economy and the current status of our nation in general, what words of advice do you have both for the graduating seniors and for those of us underclassmen still going through important decision-making processes?
One thing I would say is I hope you learn from what has been going on. You talk to people in economics. I don't understand it at all, as a matter of fact. But the thing that comes up all the time is greed. Greed, greed. That's what got us where we are today. And therefore, I'd say to anybody graduating, don't be greedy. I'd also say it's a time when we can learn. I think we have to learn to simplify our lives. I think we learn to, we don't need as much as we have. And we're so materialistic and we're so consumer driven. You have a cell phone, a new model comes out, you want it immediately. And for people, in school, I really think there's the thing you have to face is you have to believe. Okay, these are tough times, and I think students here are just beginning to realize that they're tough, and they're going to get tougher. But I think we should have a great sense and confidence in our own abilities. We're survivors, and I think we're going to come out of this, and perhaps come out of it, I hope, as a stronger nation, a nation which is far less turned in on itself, far less concerned about me, and maybe much more of a nation that views the world, which again brings us back to study abroad. That's a step in the right direction.
Well, great. Thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure getting to know you, and I hope it wasn't too much trouble.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.